Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be walking through the Barry Roubaix gravel race that takes place in Hastings, Michigan. This happened on April 13th in 2019, just about a week after we finished up at Joe Martin. I'll be walking through my experience of the race and maybe a couple takeaways I've learned over the last several gravel races that I've done over the last couple of years. So really, I start pretty far back here, and it takes a while for me to get to the front. I finally do get to the front. You see me roll up next to my teammate Ben here, and we have a bit of a conversation.
They're up the road?
And we really just talked about how there's already a breakaway up the road with 3 people, some of the key teams represented. And so I go ahead and just give an attack here because I don't want that to get too far away. And that's really because the first gravel principle is that gravel road racing is just road racing. It's rebranded. I don't think that there's really anything different to gravel besides the fact that you're just going over a little bit bumpier of a road. So I give an attack here. I don't want that break to get too far away, and hoping to draw out a smaller group that we have some other teams that we can work together. You see this Triple X rider and a couple of Bissell guys. We'll get pulling through, and we start to get a little group going, but it's just too early in the race. Everyone's feeling too fresh for us to really get away, even though we're giving it a bit of stick here. So even though we have this group, it's working somewhat well together, it eventually gets welded back together, especially on one of the road sections that comes up. And this course has a lot of road on it. It helps to gel things together, but really just makes it not too technical a race. Even the dirt roads themselves aren't that gravelly. They're pretty much just hard packed dirt, especially with the conditions that we are facing this year. And so right here I decide, you know what, we're just gonna drift back to the field, let some other people do some riding who are a little bit too excited, and on Sega Road really make my move and try and bridge up and really start to close that gap down, because I know that I have 2 teammates here, Ben and Chris. I know that we'll probably make that selection, and then we can make that happen here. There was a really big fight for the bottom of Sega Road, this big left-hand turn, which we're coming up to now, and you can see that it's basically just like a freaking sprint to a last corner to crit. Everyone's gonna dive in here and take this as fast as we can. And let's just take a moment to notice where Chris Uberti is and Ruben Bacon at the start of this segment, just because we'll see what happens here. So really, you see I come in about like 6th or 7th wheel. I'm riding on the right side of the road here, and this is pretty bumpy. I think the camera does a fairly good job of smoothing this out. But really, there's a lot of power that goes in the pedals here, and it's pretty much just about conserving momentum. There's a couple sandy sections and everything else. But I'm sitting on the wheel of Drew Dillman, who is a fairly accomplished cyclocross rider, if you don't know. So, you know, you can see that sandy section right there. It's huge power output, which really makes this a pretty surgy, makes this even more of a surgy climb than it would be without that. I get stuck behind a Bissell rider here and decided to go straight around. And you can naturally, you can't see behind me, but there's probably hundreds of people that were with us at this point, and it breaks up immediately. And really the whole goal is, how hard can I push this thing so we can split this up to a group that favors me? And I know I have Chris leading the section up there. We got one Bissell rider who's not in the breakaway. And it looks like, can't tell, that might be Drew up there in 2nd or 3rd wheel. And so I just want to get to that front, and I can see that people are starting to get tired as well. Cole House was the guy that won that finish into the left-hand corner, and he's pretty good technically. But I like my chances on a straight-out power contest with a lot of these guys. And so you can see everyone's starting to kind of slow down here now that we've settled in and gotten to the front. Everyone wants to kind of just take it chill, since there are 40 miles remaining, and I'm not really happy with that. So I come up here with Chris, and we're just going to give it a lot of effort here over the top of this climb and really make this group as small as possible to give us the best likelihood that we're going to get a group that's going to want to work together to bring back that break. The bigger the group is, the less likely it will be that everyone's going to want to work together. We're going to have a lot of sitters, sag, people that like to sit on, which isn't really going to help me at all. So yeah, I mean, really this whole segment was all about riding it fast, riding it hard, and seeing what happens on the other end. Sega Road is pretty much the only technical section on this course, as I mentioned. Everyone really talks a lot about gear selection and gravel racing. And really, my philosophy is run the fastest thing you can, especially on Barry Roubaix. Because my second gravel principle is that all road bikes are all road bikes. What I mean by that is I'm running my Specialized Venge with some 32mm gravel, Panaracer Gravel King tires. I think I set them up tubeless, but this thing they fit perfectly, and really this was like the perfect course for this course. This is the only section where I felt like I maybe was a tiny bit under bike, but even then you can see I'm like leading through the finishing bits of this section here. And I guess I was, putting out a good amount of power, which probably contributed to that a little bit. But really this helped me to save a lot of energy on all of the hard pack sections that were on this course, and all the road sections. Really, standard gearing here. I didn't really change anything on my road setup. 5339 chain rings, 1128 cassette. There's nothing really on this course that's going to warrant anything smaller than that. I mean, I guess, if you're trying to have a nice relaxed day out, probably you want a little bit even easier gear, but my philosophy is you need a bigger gear than a 3928 on this course. You're probably, you've already lost. You're not really doing much racing after this. So we're coming up to the end of this segment here, and the end of the Strava segment, more importantly, because we know that's really what the race is. And you'll probably notice that I'm in front of Chris now as we take this right-hand corner, but somehow he got the KOM. So if someone wants to flag that, Chris's activity for me, he's obviously doing some sort of cheating there, so we need to get that above board. After the Sega Road section, I tried to drill it and split this up, but really we ended up a group of about like 20 or 30 riders or so that really were with us. It kind of gelled back together. There were splits of like 3 and 4 all over the place. And the brakes still up the road by a significant amount, maybe like a minute or so. And so we decided to go back to the front and start just setting tempo. And really this is really, when I say we, I mean Chris and Ben. They're riding pretty much for me. So I know that I'm feeling on a pretty good day. Feeling like I can do well at this race. Form's been good, but I know that when we finally do catch this break, it's going to be on me to answer any attacks, because who knows what their legs are going to be like. And so you see here, we start to bring that break back. Those two guys are up the road. I think Ben actually got in a little move that bridged up to that move, that breakaway, and I'm just going to sit here and let that go until this rider here attacks and it tries to bridge up, and I'm going to go with him because I know that Ben is probably somewhat tired, and if he, if I can get up there, then it's going to be better for us. And so he really drags me up to this little group here, and this is the critical moment of the race. I know that this was going to be where the race happened. Once a break happens from this group, then, once we caught that break, the next break that goes is probably going to be the one. No one's going to want to chase that back. Everyone's been pretty tired. It's been full gas for the whole day. This is about probably like 30 to 40 miles in, so there's 20 miles to go. And similar, nothing really technical, just all hard, fast road sections. So this rider pulls me up to this little break here. I think Ben's on the front, driving it, and really what I'm looking out for is counterattacks. I'm not really going to be the one to instigate them. I feel like we've done enough work here. If the burden's on some of the other big teams like the Panaracer, Stands, No Tubes, whatever team, they have like 8 riders in this race, and we have 3. CCB has several riders too, so I'm going to let them instigate attacks, and I'm going to follow and get into a move here. So this is after a little bit of racing. There's been several attacks that are going, and it's starting to chill off a little bit, but everyone's not really happy. There's still a group. We're in a group of like 8 or 9 now. I've split off and fragmented from that group. And you see Matt Stevens, which is that rider on the left there in the gray, he kind of doesn't really do that much of an attack, but he just presses over the top of this little crest here. And I recognize that as a danger move. He's won this race the last 2 years. And the CCB rider is also going with him. He's been riding fairly strongly. I don't think this is V4, but I'm not entirely sure. And really, this is the winning attack right here. It doesn't seem that impressive. We kind of rolled off at 500-600 watts, but it was just hard enough over the top of this crest. People started to look at each other behind us, and yeah, we're going. See, I'm pressing on the front pretty hard here, but I'm not going flat out. And Matt actually comes by and asks me and tells me I should commit to this.
I am committing.
and I respond that I am committing, but I'm not going to drive this thing. You know, it's like, whatever, man. We've been chasing you guys down all day. You have the numbers, and I only have one guy effectively left. I think Ben's in the group behind me. Chris has been dropped. I'm not going to go all in on this thing. I think it looks pretty good for me, but I'm not going to sell out, because if we get brought back, I need to be ready to answer for any counterattacks here. But that being said, I am pressing on the pedals, definitely pressing on the pedals up, you know, over these sections, hitting 400 watts. It's a fairly windy day as well, and I think most of the back half we have like a bit of a cross tailwind. So really, it was us three, and then Johnny Mitchell from Palmetto State has been sitting on the brake for a while, claiming that his sprinter was coming up to us, even though I'm pretty sure he was dropped a long time ago. And the CCB rider made a bridge from the group behind us. So those of you keeping track now, I've had to answer a bunch of attacks, had to lay down, you know, several power sections here, and now I'm being outnumbered in this breakaway. So I'm now even less incentivized to really drive this thing. I'm going to ride through, I'm going to pull through, but my job is just to stay in this break. I like my chances if we go to line in a sprint, so I'm just going to conserve energy and do as minimal work as possible. So you see I'm still pulling through here, still putting out decent power, but really as soon as that CCB rider bridge, I was like, okay, these guys can start playing some games here. I'm just going to roll through and conserve energy, and I'm feeling really good at this point. My heart rate's fairly high, but you know, it's comfortable. It feels very sustainable, especially after the big block of hard racing that we did at Joe, Marlin, and everything else. So we pass some riders from another race. They do, other than the 100K, they also have like a 20 mile and a 30 mile gravel race, and they start to really converge on each other these last little bit. And you see the CCB rider come by his teammate and kind of just give like the, yo, chill, we're good. And that's what the same kind of feeling that I was in. You know, you want to keep this thing moving, but this is the break. This is going to go. We've been rolling really fast for a long time now, and nothing's really going to come up to us as long as we just conserve energy. So I say that, and then about 5 miles later or so, all of a sudden, it's like the lights went out. I don't know exactly what happened here, but you see me starting to get tailed off the back of this group, and it's like all the warning lights are on. I'm like shoving food down my throat, and really not feeling good at all. And so I know that I need to really try and be cagey here and see if I can sit in a little bit, as much as I can, even though I don't think any of these guys in the break are really going to let me do that. So I need to figure out a way to hide and survive and see if I can get to this little rough patch here. I really don't have a reason for why I was feeling bad, but it is part of the thing. So I knew that the teammates worked for me, so I need to figure out a way to survive. And you see Matt starts to dig up this little rise, and there's nothing that much. The power's not that high. I'm just not, I can't really cover the wheel I can't accelerate. And so I slot over here to, you know, see if I can get him to pull through, because none of these guys have been pulling through behind me. And then he just kind of jumps a little bit and surges, and I can't answer. I get yelled at to close the gap, which I'm kind of like, whatever, man. I'm pretty tired. You see Johnny Mitchell suddenly finds legs to ride across that gap, and the CCB rider goes with him, and this is the worst feeling that you can have on a bike race. This is getting dropped right here. Yeah, really disappointed with myself that I wasn't able to hang with that group. That was the group that won. I think Matt ended up winning. One of the CCB riders was second. So I kind of roll it in slowly here for the rest of the race, hanging my head, wondering what went wrong. But that, you know, I guess this is part of it. You know, you have some good days and you have bad days racing. But the thing is, you need to know about gravel racing. My third and final principle is that you can never really take it easy, because you'll always get sprinted by some guy in the 20-mile race at the very end. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe and tune in for more race videos coming up.